It's me, Wayman, again, and this is a part 2 to the video about the same topic as I was talking about before. In the last video, I discussed fate and whatnot. So I want to shed light on some ideas that I had about the Jesus epics. I'm going to start putting stuff on a level playing field just for the example of explaining it. So, the Jesus epics in Christian mythology are pretty interesting because it follows the same kind of theme as the epics of, or Aristeia, or works or valors of Achilles and Hercules. And in the Iliad, Achilles knows that if he chooses to go back into war, he had a choice. He could either go home, live a long life, have lots of kids. However, he would not be spoken of in legend. Or he could go and collect honor and be talked about in legend if he went back into war. So he chooses to go back into war. He knows his fate. He knows he's going to die. Hector does not. Hector, in the story of the Iliad, is human. He looks like a wimp. He has feelings. He has fear. And so you see him acting like a human. But actually Hector is very brave. However, compared to deities, it would seem that he is not. So here you have the empowerment of the deities. You have the Aristeia of Hector, which I talked about before in videos before, or works of valor, where Zeus empowers him and gives him a day to wreak havoc on the Greeks. So compare that with ideas of Sampson and the empowerment from the divine or the gods on Sampson, and when he wreaked havoc among the Philistines. So the Aristeia of Sampson, Samson's destiny or fate was to be an avenger for Israel on the Philistines. So that was done. Well, what's interesting is the Jesus epics, and getting into that of running towards your fate, knowing the end, and fighting your hardest to that end. So here you had the 12 trials of Hercules, and then he's double-crossed by his wife, his last wife, and he ends up getting this acidic-like spell put on him that starts to eat his skin. He climbs the funeral pyre and is set fire, and then he is taken up, he is ascended, and given a place among the gods as a god. Hercules was a part human, part deity, and usually they're allowed to die. However, Hercules ends up being given the role of an actual deity and marrying in the divine realms, or the heavenly realms, Hera's daughter, and which is kind of strange. So this might be a later addition to the story because Hera persecutes Hercules the whole time. She hates him. So with book 16, as we talked before, in the where Zeus feels pity for Saradon dying on the battlefield in book 16 of the Iliad, and he sheds, well, he's grieving, and he sheds blood of tears, or rains tears of blood on the Trojans in honor of Saradon. Here you have deities deserting because it's the fate, especially in the death of Hector. So the New Testament idea of God turning his back on Christ isn't all that strange, and a lot of people have a hard time with this. Oh, why would, they come up with strange theologies. Oh, why, he bore the sins of the world on his shoulder. None of that is in the text or the epics until you get to John and ideas of Paul. None of that is in the original epics or Aristeia of Christ, as far as Mark and Luke. and Matthew. So the whole idea of bearing the sins and all that could have been a later addition. So here, the divine accepts or allows the fate of Christ, the part human, part God, to play out, and like Hercules, he's given a place among the divine beings. So in Greek and Roman terms, that's fully explained a lot better than the volumes and volumes of theology trying to weasel our way around it in Christianity, you know. And looking at fate through Greek and Roman tragedies, you can either fight it and try to and still come to an end miserably, like Oedipus, who tried to change his fate, but it still happened because it was sealed, and he failed miserably. Or you can face it and run towards it, like Achilles, and he's still talked about in legend, as was promised. So here we have two stories similar to the Jesus, where Hercules will climb the funeral pyre and be consumed and taken up. Here, Jesus climbs Golgotha, is suspended between heaven and earth, and after his death is taken up. So, very interesting parallels on the same concept and motif. And after reading Roman and Greek theology, as I said before in one of my other videos, you will not find it strange at all that such things are happening. People being transported different places in the spirit, so to speak. Here you have Paris in the middle of a battle, then all of a sudden he disappears and shows up, you know, in his house with the beautiful Helen, you know, and he's supposed to sleep with her and stuff, and there's this whole conversation, you know, how can I sleep with you when, you know, there's this battle raging and things like that. And that was all done by the gods. So it's pretty interesting, and it sheds a whole new light and makes Judaism and Christian mythology much more colorful if you can kind of understand the influences of the roots of those ideas before it was put in a theological format. So take care, friends, and I hope you hopefully enjoyed this. Be safe, and remember, if everyone's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.